Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and crypto markets are running today, led by Bitcoin, which I'm happy to see, frankly, because that's what we should expect. Coming out of bear markets historically, that's what we should expect. Bitcoin, at the time I'm recording this video, up to over $27,000. Bitcoin dominance through the roof. And so the reason that I'm happy to see this is because, again, well, it's historically what we should expect. So I'm, happy to see history kind of rhyming with itself, so to speak. And ultimately, we know that, at least in the past, after Bitcoin burst, at some point, people want to take profits, but if they don't want to put that in the USD, what do? They'll put it into large cap coins, and then mid cap coins, and small cap coins, which means that XRP would certainly get a piece of that in a very hot market. And so I continue to be optimistic that we've already seen the lows for crypto. That would have been this last November when the FTX Ponzi scheme collapsed. That my only caveat, which I'll continue to repeat, is that if there is a black swan event, an outlier event, a wildcard event that really just knocks out equities in particular, crypto is going to follow. So there's a possibility this won't happen. That's my one major caveat here. But outside of that, humans are behaving like history is told us that we should expect them to behave. And so what did I do today? I bought more crypto. Now, typically on days that are green, I don't tend to buy, but there's a reason that I did what I did, and I'll share with you what cryptocurrency I purchased. And also I want to highlight, and this is kind of in a way, a public service announcement, if you will. There are Twitter accounts that are outright scamming and successfully scamming XRP holders. And it has to do with the Flair token, which just had its first Flair drop today. So the first airdrop technically was on, I think it was January 9th, a couple months ago. But then the first distribution for those that wrapped and delegated their tokens, that was actually today. And scammers be taking advantage of that. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, as I record this, XRP's at 37 cents. Bitcoin at $27,176. And this is right at its, that's the 24-hour high, basically. It's like right there. It literally started on here. I'm going to refresh this, but it started running right as I was recording this video. So 24-hour high, $27,190. There's the 24-hour chart, so you can see what that looks like. Mega move to the upside. XRP is looking good over the last 24 hours as well. It's up only 2.89%, but again, this is a Bitcoin day. It just happens to be, and again, I don't mind that. We as XRP holders should encourage this because I don't need XRP to be number one in market cap. If it ever is super duper, it's my largest holding. I would love that. I just want to get a piece of the pie when it comes to my XRP holdings. And I think I'm going to. I'm pretty confident that that's going to happen here. It's incredible to see this, though. So the bears were clearly wrong at this point. Can we just admit that at this point? Unless there's a black swan event. But then, even if that happens, I'm not going to give the bears that much credit because they're saying that Bitcoin's going to $12,000 regardless of whether or not there's a black swan event. So if they happen to be right because the economy falls apart or something, like, okay, well, oops-a-doodles, you were accidentally right. It kind of takes away from the victory a little bit, don't you think? Here you got the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 51 out of 100, but this only updates every 24 hours, and it's another 2 hours and 12 minutes before it updates, so I'll be curious to see what this looks like, but I'm guessing much higher than this. I won't be surprised if the market's back in greed at this point. It's at 51 out of 100 at the time that I'm recording this. Now, Bitcoin dominance at 44.89%. There's a tiny chart for those of you that care to look. It's just a massive tick to the upside, but again, love to see this because structurally this is what you should come to expect if you just look back at, and I'm not a chart guy, but if you don't have to be to understand this, just look back historically what has happened in terms of price action. It's Bitcoin that leads the way. It increases in dominance, and then as alt runs, Bitcoin dominance decreases. As pointed out basically by chart analyst Income Sharks here, he shared this chart. This is a Bitcoin dominance chart. And he wrote, Bitcoin, dominance pushing up with force. This is why you'll want to give alts some time. When this goes down, alts will have their time. And so it's rinse and repeat. This is what's been happening since the beginning of crypto, effectively. And then there's also this. I'm going to be brief on. Excuse me. I'm going to be brief on this, but it's stuff to watch, especially when you're talking about in the broader world of just finance in general, which is absolutely impacting crypto, just things to be aware of and watch, because we are at this this point, this fork in the road, where potentially this could develop into a full-blown black swan event that really knocks out the economy in a major way. Now, I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying it's something that's on the radar. But look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. Silicon Valley Bank's parent firm files for bankruptcy as Bitcoin soars over 30% in 1 week. So I'm just noting here, the depositors at Silicon Valley Bank still protected. I'm just giving you a quick update. Silicon Valley Bank going for bankruptcy. Crypto markets don't care about that. Well, as evidenced by what the hell's happening today, that's for sure. But also, the government, and it couldn't be more obvious that this is happening, the government is absolutely on a full-blown attack against crypto in general, and we've known that in the XRP community for over 2 years. But this is so blatant, and it's obvious to anybody that's paying attention and knows what's going on, but the average person isn't going to understand this necessarily, and they may actually buy the fake narrative that crypto is harming the legacy financial system, when it's the opposite. It's the legacy financial system that's harming crypto, as I've been covering in recent days. But look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. U.S. regulator will require any buyer of failed Signature Bank to scrap the company's crypto business. And so Signature Bank collapsed, and that's the third largest banking collapse in United States history. And I don't really feel the need to read the article. The biggest takeaway, what you need to know, is that regulators at the FDIC are, this is reportedly the case, that they're imposing a requirement that any interested buyer of the failed bank, Signature Bank, must scrap all crypto-related activity, all of it. Now, mind you, crypto didn't cause any of this. None. Absolutely zero. This is an attack on crypto. And these people that are doing this, they know what they're engaging in. They're just doing it for their own nefarious reasons. And so it's just, but still, like, crypto's not going away. You can't put this genie back in the bottle. And so I'm still happy to be here. Attack all you want, but I'm still optimistic that what should be done will be done in the end of the day here. So let's talk a little bit about Flair. And look, I know that not everybody listening got to participate in the Flair airdrop. Maybe you jump into XRP afterwards. Or you have your XRP on Coinbase during the snapshot date, so you don't have your Flair yet. I got some food for thought for you, which I think is really worth considering. I'm not going to tell you to buy or sell anything, but I do have something for you that I think is worth considering, and it's an interesting topic of conversation. But for all of you that missed the Flair airdrop because you didn't have XRP, for the snapshot date back a couple of years ago, or again, if you haven't gotten your distribution because you had your XRP or you're on Coinbase during the snapshot date, first of all, if you're owed Flair, let me word that. If you're owed Flair from Coinbase, that still may happen. I'm less optimistic about the Songbird. I mean, that could happen too. There's a good chance you're going to get it. Coinbase has publicly stated that by June they're going to distribute that. They should have done it by now, and they're treating customers horribly, and I have nothing but sympathy there. But I just wanted to give you some food for thought here. If you, like, in terms of the price action of Flair, it is dirt cheap. And this is the coin that I purchased today. And I started thinking about it recently. I was like, maybe I should purchase some more Flair tokens. And, it just turns out that, although, yes, Flair, it's up 4.59% over the last 24 hours. And so I pretty much never buy when, with rare exception, I would almost never buy when markets are up, especially on a big day like this. Although 4.59% isn't the end of the world. And the reason I decided I just don't give a damn is because a couple days ago, the Flair token hit its all-time low. Now, that got me interested. It got down, the lowest I saw was 2.4 cents. It's currently 2.9 cents. That is dirt cheap. Imagine if you could purchase XRP for that price. Now, that would be something. Now, mind you, the total supply, currently anyway, is about the same as the total supply for XRP. XRP, it's 100 billion. And then for Flair, it's 105 billion. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, but the idea, I just want broader exposure to crypto. And so the idea of being in at the ground floor for crypto, this is the closest to the ground floor that I've ever been, which is literally right at the beginning. I've never been invested in anything at the beginning here. And, it's risky, which is why, again, I'm not telling you to buy or not buy anything. This could all go to zero. I understand that investing in this or anything in crypto, I just admit it, like it is risky. It's highly risky compared to like stocks, for example. Just in a general sense, like if you purchase, just an index fund, for example, less risky than purchasing in crypto. I mean, just to be fair, I'm way more interested in crypto and happy to take on that risk. I sleep easy knowing that I have exposure to the asset class. But I did buy Flair, and here's what I wanted to share with you. It takes almost no money to purchase what you like. Say you had you're owed your Flair token from Coinbase. It takes almost no money unless you have a huge amount of XRP holdings during the snapshot. It takes almost no money for you to get what you otherwise would have had. And I don't know if people have properly considered that. Like, so for example, let's say you have a lot of XRP. Let's say you're in the top roughly 0.5% of XRP holders, and you've got, I'll just make up a number. Let's just say you have 200,000 XRP, which almost nobody has. But let's say that's what you had, and you had that on the snapshot date, and so you would have been owed roughly 200,000 Flair initially. But the first distribution would have only been somewhere. I'm using rough math, by the way. It would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 Flair for the first distribution. It would have been around there, maybe a hair more. Well, what I wanted to let you know is even if you had a massive amount of XRP like that, I think most people would think that's massive anyway. I'm sure some of you listening have more, fine. But even if you had that much, it would only cost $1,000 to get what is equivalent to the first airdrop worth of Flair tokens. So then imagine, what if you had 75% less? Let's say you only had only 50,000 XRP. That's still a lot of XRP though. Well, for $250, you would have gotten the equivalent of the airdrop that Coinbase hasn't given to you. That's not exactly, an earth-shattering expense, $250. And most people have less than that. So I'm just saying, you could have what in the future might be perceived to be gigantic holdings for Flair for a very low price. So it's just food for thought. I'm not telling you to buy or not buy, but I mean, I'll just tell you this: like, I didn't put much money into Flair today. I mean, well, that's subjective though. Some would think it's some would think it's not. But I more than doubled my holdings because I only got that initial distribution. And then another reason that it's appealing to me is because I did finally 1 week ago. I was really sleeping on this, and I shouldn't have been. I know it's always in the back of my mind, but I was sleeping on wrapping and delegating my Flair. But I did that literally 1 week ago today, and so I did that, and I used the Bifrost app, and it all worked out super duper. And so I got. I didn't calculate the percent. It was a notable jump up in my Flair holding. So just by wrapping the Flair, which is super easy to do, and then delegating it, I just got more Flair for free. And that's going to be happening for the next 35 months. So there are 36 Flair drops. It's called a Flair drop total, and there's 35 more after this. So part of the reason I bought Flair is not just that I think it could be worth more just on the open market anyway, but because by purchasing that additional Flair, I more than doubled my holdings compared to what I got from the initial airdrop. I can wrap and delegate that also. So now my earnings are going to be more than double roughly. And so what I'm going to do, I think, is just kind of keep dollar cost averaging into Flair. And again, I don't know where this project's going. I'm way more confident in XRP because it's got a greater track record. It's actually implemented. Today anyway, it certainly has more utility, but I'm optimistic for Flair. It's certainly risky. I'm not telling you to buy it or not buy it. I'm just sharing with you some of my thoughts on this because I find it interesting. It's fun to talk about this stuff. But, I'm going to continue to keep my Flair wrapped and delegated. But I'm also going to be purchasing more from people that are selling, and then I'll just earn that much more. And so to be on at the ground level here, who knows? Because look, crypto markets, they move in tandem. So if we're going to have an alt season, I can only imagine what this might be worth. What if it does go to $1? What if it does? I mean, that doesn't sound wacky to me. XRP almost went to $4, and I think it's going to be worth way more than that in the future. So what about Flair? Because even if it doesn't take hold, like say if we fast forward a decade or two and Flair just didn't take hold and it's dead, I'm still optimistic that during the next run, it still certainly could run. There's no reason that it couldn't, because when you have an alt season, you have an alt season. And we'll see here. But also, this is the biggest airdrop in history outside of airdrops that have occurred as a result of forks. Like, when Bitcoin forked and then you had Bitcoin Cash. If you take out stuff like that, but just a straight up airdrop outside of something like that, this is the biggest one, most adopted in history. unprecedented, frankly, over 100 exchanges participating in the airdrop. That's nothing like that has ever happened before. I've never seen anything even close to that. So it's got a hell of a start. I understand the price is in the gutter, but that's why I'm attracted to it. I don't want to buy when stuff's really high. And so that's why I was looking at it. I was like, okay, so the other day it was down to 2.4 cents. It's 2.9 cents. It's up almost 5% over the last 24 hours. I was like, splitting hairs here. Like, who the hell cares? It's in the freaking gutter. And so if it goes to zero, fine, then I lose everything. I'm like, okay. But because I only invest what I'm willing to lose, just in case. But so the reason I wanted to highlight this, if you're kind of bummed out that you missed the airdrop, or you're bummed out that Coinbase hasn't given you your Flair tokens, I know it's not fair. It's not justifying, but I'm just saying, in case you hadn't considered it, you can put in almost no money and get what you would have had for free. And then if you're stolen from Coinbase, you might still get that. I would anticipate that you would, frankly, even if it takes a little, even if it's a few more months from now. I'd be surprised if they don't give that to you. So I don't know. I'm excited for. I'm just going to wait and see what the hell happens here. But it's definitely worth considering. Now, I did want to warn about the scammers, though, because I was reading this from the official Flair Twitter account. It's at Flair Networks. This is the real one, 254,000 followers. And they were noting that the first Flair drop is live. And then I just wrote back the following. My Bifrost wallet bot auto-claimed the first Flair drop for me. I also just purchased more Flair on Kraken this morning and will wrap it and delegate it so I get even more dropped to me in the future. And so to be clear here, even if you didn't have XRP during the snapshot, so you didn't get the quote unquote free airdrop, in terms of getting the rest of the distribution that everybody else is getting, you don't have to have had that airdrop to participate. You do not. All you have to do is get yourself some Flair. I'm not telling you to do this again. But if you purchase Flair, and you could put it on, you choose where you want to do it. I used Bifrost. You can wrap it there and delegate it. And this is for anybody that's participating. So the early adopters, and this is why they're doing it this way. The early adopters now are the ones that are getting this. And the people who are not wrapping and delegating, they actually only got that first airdrop, and they're not getting anything else. Initially, the plan was that they were going to get, over the span of a few years, the rest of their Flair tokens. Now they're not. The only way to get it is if you wrap and delegate your Flair. So even if you don't have the Flair drop, you could spend very little money and be in a position that maybe if you didn't realize you could have been in. And that's just something that I don't think people are considering here. So I'm here for it. Again, I brought exposure. I'm most excited about my XRP, but it's very possible if we have an alt season this runs, this could make me substantially more money than my XRP makes me. I don't know if that's going to happen, or it could go to zero. I do not know. But I want the exposure. I'm all about having broad exposure. And for something like this that has an incredible start like this and is actually technologically sufficient, it seems like it's just increasing in adoption. Yeah. And then to see, it was also kind of like, I can see I can get a little bit addicting too, because when I got my free additional Flair dropped to me today, I was like, ooh, that's nice. It's just, and it's interesting because it wouldn't take much. I'll just say this. It won't take spending much money to get enough Flair drop to you on your regular basis that even each drop, which is monthly, would cover a car payment or even a mortgage. I kid you not. It doesn't take that much money going in to have that. Now, again, that doesn't mean go do it. I'm not telling you to do it because it is risky. And if you put in enough money to get that, which, it's an opportunity. What if it goes to zero? Or what if the price goes down? Then it's not equivalent to a car payment. Then it's not equivalent to a mortgage. But I'm telling you, at the current levels right now, and maybe it does go lower, although if it goes lower, I'm just going to buy more. But at the current levels, it does not take spending that much money to get enough drop every single month for the next 36 months, or 35 months now, that it would be equivalent to a freaking mortgage. I kid you not. It is not that much. And like, people are sleeping on this and they don't realize it. And admittedly, I was sleeping on this too. It's been on my to-do list for 2 months, and I finally did it a week ago. And thankfully, I got it just in the nick of time, and I still got my free Flair dropped to me for wrapping and delegating it. And if you want to know how to do that, if you are curious, I'm going to go ahead and link this. No, let me tell you the scammer first. So there was this scammer that retweeted me, and it's Flair support. Now, Flair does not have a support Twitter account. So they're following me. They got 1,000 followers here, and they just wrote, "Do you mind?" They retweeted me and wrote, "Do you mind reaching out to us?" And then this link, I didn't click on it. Don't click on it. This is a scammer. We're keen to learn more about your requirements. This is a bot scammer. And here's their actual Twitter account. They're just anybody that tweets about Flair, it's programmed to retweet them and direct them to the scam link. And so I'm scrolling down. For those of you looking at the screen, you can see it's endless, the same crap over and over again, directing to this link. It is an absolute scam. Do not fall for this. Don't click on it. There is no Flair support. And there have already been, it's sad to read this, but I was reading stuff online today, and there are people in our community, in our XRP community, that lost their XRP, and they lost their Songbird, and they lost their Flair tokens because they got in touch with what they thought was Flair support. Be careful out there. It's not good. And then for this, for those of you that are interested in learning how to wrap and delegate Flair, I'm going to link this video below in the details or about section, whatever the hell it's called, right below the video. This is a video from the Flair community, a YouTube account. And I use this as like a tutorial as I was wrapping and delegating my own Flair a week ago, and it was very helpful. I happen to use Bifrost. There's other options. They go through a ton of different ways in which you can do that using various platforms. Depending on your situation, you can kind of figure it out. For me, I had my initial distribution airdropped to my Ledger account, my Ledger hardware. I had one of my Ledger Nano S's account there. But they don't have natively a way to wrap and delegate your Flair if you're using the Ledger hardware wallet. So what I did was I set up Bifrost on my phone, transferred it to that account, took down my seed phrase, all that jazz that you do when you're setting up a new wallet. And then I moved my Flair there, and then natively inside of the app, you can wrap and delegate. It's super easy. If you fly through this, you can be done inside of like 10 minutes. Now, I was super slow because I'm always paranoid when I'm moving, so I time myself, and I took 1 hour and 9 minutes. I kid you not, which is ridiculous. It's over the top. You don't need that much time, but that's what I did. I was just like triple checking everything and going so slow because I'm normally not moving crypto. Like I've been in crypto over half a decade, but I mostly just hold. So, I'm just like, I get a little nervous about it, So I went super slow though. But this is a really helpful video. So shout out to Flair community and this video. I'm going to link it below if you want to learn how to wrap and delegate. This is a way to do it. So again, I'm not telling you to buy or sell anything. I don't care what you do or don't. I just think it's fun to talk about. And I plan to continue to purchase dollar cost average. I might make a purchase once a week, something like that, indefinitely. So, but I'll tell you this. If the price dips dramatically and we get another new all-time low like we had a couple days ago, I'm going to pounce on that with force because I got all this capital on the sidelines that I haven't deployed yet. I'll go bonkers with it because the fact that it went down, it's just... It's not like it's a sign that it's going to see. I know it scares people, but that's the point. Like I want to buy when people are scared. It's not some sort of sign that it's going to cease to exist or something like that. So anyway, you guys let me know what you think. I'm going to stop yammering on though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.